What is going on, BW Sports One World? It's time to bet your ass with Raphael Esparza. That's right, folks. Powered by Rockstar Realty. 317-503-8322. Driving for Dyslexia. 317-643-1105. Elite Performance. 765-499-1005. And Aries Academy and Sports Vision Training. Check them out online. www.aries-academy.com. Raphael, what is going on from the West Coast?
Nothing new. I mean, same old stuff over here. Just putting out some good stuff. Had a great Saturday of watching hoops, knockouts, more hoops, frozen slush in Tahoe when they're trying to skate around. So I was drinking margaritas because it made me thirsty because that's what it looked like. One big limeade margarita on the ice. So it was a good weekend.
There you go. I don't blame you. You know, it's funny you mentioned Saturday because Saturday I had a good night as well. And it all went down to the Ultimate Fighting Championships main event. And that, my friend, paid me out greatly. I'm about to tell you what I bet on. And I'm going to just send you the pictures because I forgot to do that before the show. I'm going to send you the pictures so you can believe me.
I mean, if you're going to tell me that you had Derek Lewis, then you're not the only one. I mean,
I had Derek Lewis to win. I had Derek Lewis to win
KO.
by knockout.
So did everyone else.
And hold on, here's the kicker. I had Derek Lewis to win in the second round.
I'll give you the second round. I'm not giving you props for Derek Lewis winning and Derek Lewis by KO because everyone had that. And he could fight Muhammad Ali in boxing only, and people will still bet him by a KO and him by win because he has one punch. He was getting destroyed in the fight. The leg kicks were hurting him. The jab was hurting him. He won the fight because of one punch and one punch only. And so that's why when people are like, oh, I crushed the bookies because I had Derek Lewis. Well, join everyone else. Everyone else did the same thing. So I'll give you the round. I'll give you the second prop. Congratulations. I'm bowing to you.
No need to bow. No need to bow. Just check your phone when you get a chance just to confirm.
Oh, no, I believe you. But I can't give it one out of three I'll give you.
That's all right. The money will pay me all three of them, though. So I'm fine with that.
Well, it's not my money, so, I mean.
No, it isn't. But it would have been everybody else's if I didn't bet on it, right?
But
so,
congrats.
Yeah, and it was a hell of an upset on the card.
The whole card was a hell of an upset. So it wasn't just, that was a weird UFC event, and we had someone not show up to the ring because of back spasms. We had Bob Ross's son pulling out. So it was just a weird event. Period. I mean, if it wasn't for the main event, I thought the female fight. I don't want to butcher the girl's last name on your show. I thought that was entertaining, but I thought it was a mediocre. If I had to grade it, I would give it a C-, C+ at its best. I mean, I would give we'll get into the boxing match. I thought the boxing match outblew the UFC's main event and co-main event on the same factor.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. There is no denying that UFC card overall sucked, in my opinion. And I'm agreeing with you. You had a guy show up 11.5 pounds overweight. He could have fought legitly in the next weight class up. That's pathetic in my book. That right there is so unprofessional. There has to be something that I could not imagine being on that level. Coming in, yes, a pound overweight here and there, but you came in 11.5 pounds over.
Yeah, it's disgrace. That just shows your opponent, the league, or UFC that you have no respect. Pull out. You know that you're 10 pounds overweight if you're fighting on Saturday. You know by Wednesday, Thursday that, holy shit, there's no way I'm going to make this. Then pull out. They will you, Dana White, UFC, and your opponent will respect you more if you say, hey, Wednesday, Thursday, there's no shit in hell that I'm going to make weight, so I'm going to bow out now. So maybe you can find another opponent or something like that. But I'm sorry, that's disrespectful.
That must be a Nevada thing.
What?
Shit in hell.
Yeah.
I have never heard that combination in my life. Thank you, sir, for making me knowledgeable of shit in hell.
It's hot. It's hot here. When it's the end of July, August, and it's still 105 degrees and it's midnight, you're shitting in hell. You're
shitting in hell. Okay. Say no more right there. Now, okay.
You learned something new today.
I do, and I appreciate that. I can add that to the knowledge worth that I have up here in this big head of mine.
When you're on a treadmill tomorrow, for some odd reason, trying to lose weight, or be muscular, you can think about, I'm sweating so bad that I'm shitting in hell.
Sometimes it feels that way. Anyway, let's move on to that awesome boxing match that you talked about earlier. I mean, it was just... on paper, it was just as big of an upset as the UFC main event was.
It was, but if you kind of know Valdez and how he fights, and Burchett and how he gets in trouble, it wasn't. I mean, betting wise, yes, big upset. If you're a boxing nut and all that, it wasn't really that big of a upset because everyone knows that Burchett. If you hit him in the temple or close to the back of the head, his legs start folding like folding chairs at church after it's over. In the fourth round, I'm shocked that he just didn't fold, because I had the over under 8.5 rounds and 9.5 rounds. And at the fourth round, I said, SOB, I can't believe this guy's not even going to make it. The champ is not going to see the fifth round. So I got to give him credit for making it to almost going to distance. But at the same time, I really thought he was dead or something bad happened after that knockout, because that was one of the devastating knockouts I've seen in the last couple of years. I mean, granted, it's a lightweight. If there was a heavyweight, then maybe something bad would happen. But that punch and how he landed and how he laid there, gladly they kept on showing, and you could see his chest moving up and down. But that was a devastating left. Yeah,
that was a hell of a sound that made when it connected. It was like you knew at that moment, even before the rigor mortis looking body hit the canvas, that he's out. It's a done deal. He ain't getting up from that. And like you said, congrats. But talking about on odds on the books and stuff, a lot of casual fans, I would think, maybe put some money on brain fart.
Valdez,
yeah.
And we did, because he was around probably close to a $5 underdog, and then by when Burchett was walking in the ring, some shops had 3-1. He was plus, so they were money. We lost on that fight because Oscar Valdez was getting a lot of money coming in, and then no one gave any respect for the former WBC champ Miguel Burchett. But it's going to be interesting because there's some really good fights in that junior lightweight. The WBO. Jamel Herring is up there, which is, I met him, saw him fight in Vegas, probably one of the last live events, boxing live events I saw in Vegas. I met him and his whole team. We hung out at Westgate. Really, really cool guy. A former Air Force, was it Navy? Or so he's in the service, so he's always, I think, Air Force. So he's big into the service and always brings those guys to his fights and stuff like that. And then you got Davis, the WBA champion. So Oscar Valdez has some really good situations that he can go with, and he can, if he wants to, he can come. I mean, Valdez was so heavy. I mean, he was, I think, weighing 130, and he came in about 146 during the fight time, so he can move up if he wants. I think he'll maybe fight one more time in lightweight, unless I didn't hear if he had any trouble cutting weight. But at the same time, I mean, he's got Lopez Jr., 5 pounds, that has all 3 belts up there and was at the fight. So Oscar Valdez has a really, really bright future, and he's going to make some coin in the next couple of years.
Do you think that Valdez is the next superstar of that division?
I don't think he's Teofimo Lopez. He's not Lomachenko. He's a small guy. I mean, so if you have a guy that has a powerful jab, no disrespect to Miguel Burchett, he doesn't have a powerful jab. He just throws punches in different angles, and that's how he was getting his wins because it's hard to guard and block some of that. I think he'll have a hard time with Herring if he fights him because Herring's got that devastating reach advantage on him. It has some really good body punches. I think he can maybe beat Davis because they're both kind of that same type of fighter, small, stacky, not long arms who always want to attack the body. But I think he'll have a hard time with Herring, and I don't think he has a shot with Lopez Jr.
Well, there you have it, folks. The fighting world has spoken with the odds maker himself from Doc's Sports Picks. That's right. Check Doc's Sports Picks out. What is it? DocSports.com? DocSportsPicks.com?
Yes, DocSports.com.
DocSports.com. Check it out. Text BW Sports 1 to 29022 and get your free $60 account started. Now we're going to leave it somewhat into the fighting scene, but we talked about this right before the show that I wanted to talk about. We're going to throw it in right here before we jump to college hoops. WandaVision. So our good buddy, Raphael Esparza, gets tweets, gets Instagram messages, gets Facebook messages and emails talking about, why don't you put these odds up or put this deal up on MyBookie? So he does. And for people who don't believe me, you're going to hear it right here. So I get an email today from the one and only Raphael Esparza talking about WandaVision season finale odds. Raphael, you got your odds up over there?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Disney Plus and the Star Wars franchise blew up the internet on season 2 of The Mandalorian. The last episode, I hate to spoil it if no one hasn't watched it, but they had 2 surprise cameos in the last episode. And again, I apologize if you didn't see it, but it was Luke Skywalker and R2-D2. So the whole internet just blew up. It was probably, they didn't even have to have Luke Skywalker or R2-D2. I thought the writing and the graphics and the storyline of The Mandalorian season 2, it's no wonder why I got another Globe and Globe nod. It was really, really good. But just to throw that in the mix and just blow up the internet. So I'm like, well, the actors of WandaVision have been doing a lot of interviews saying that, hey, we're going to have some cameos in our last episode. I think it's March 5th, and it's really, really tight-lipped. No one knows. I mean, everyone has rumors and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, well, you know what? If you're going to tease us, I'll throw some teases out there as well. So I made a list of cameos who's going to be in the last episode in season 1. You can bet will Doctor Strange be on there, even though we heard Doctor Strange Part 2 is going to have one of the characters on WandaVision. So, of course, that's a little heavy favorite. You can have Spider-Man. Why not have a Spider-Man on there? Or Captain Marvel. I think she's dead hot, so I'm hoping she's on there on season 1. That means I'm outfit in a couple of weeks. Professor X. Now, I've made Professor X and Magneto, both of them, just because there's multiple characters in the Marvel Universe have played both Professor X and Magneto. So any of the characters that played either Professor X or Magneto, you'll get paid if you bet the yes. And, of course, if they're in no-show, you can bet the no. It's just fun. You know me, I love doing stuff like this. I love doing the research part. That's why I had a blast doing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just because I am the biggest dork when it comes to music. I have no idea I have no idea who sings songs. My wife makes fun of me all the time. So me doing the almost 10 days of research of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was really cool, really educational. So I really enjoy when people give me these questions of why don't you put odds out on this? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll start doing some reading and stuff like that. And then I just start digging, and it's fun. Like I said, I could care less if not one person bets $1 on this, but it's a fun thing. I mean, if you Google or hashtag WandaVision, a million people love this stuff, and hopefully we'll get some entertainment out of it.
I like it. I know I'm entertained every time I see an email come from you, sir. I'm not going to lie. Now, here's my question. If you were to pick on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, okay, so I'm sorry, that wasn't the question. Revert that back. Here's the question. When you're singing the songs that you don't know who's actually sung the original, your wife asks you who sung that song. Instead of saying, I don't know, say, me.
That's a good. That's good. That's a good one. Before or after she's laughing because I'm singing.
I mean, whenever the question comes out, I guess, I'm sure you can kind of judge when that's coming out, or you could just be proactive and say before you even start singing, I wrote this.
Good to know. I would definitely work on that, though. Like I said, a lot of plug. I mean, if you can just Google Rock and Roll Hall of Fame odds, you can see everyone that copied it and how many different newspapers and magazines put the odds up on there. But there's a couple of shoe-ins that I think are definitely in. I think Jay-Z is one of them. Tina Turner's one of them. I think what's the other one? New York Dolls is one of them. And Carole King is one. I think 4 or 5 are going to get in. Last year, 6 were in, and the year before, 5 got in. So I think it's only going to be between probably 4 and 5. And I think some people are going to be disappointed they didn't get in. Like I'm trying to think, Shaka Khan. I think that she should be getting in. I think Iron Maiden should get in, but I think they're going to be left out. I think Mary J. Blige, I think she's going to get left out just because if Tina Turner is getting in and Kate Bush is getting in, they're not going to have 3 females get in on one session. So I would be blown away if that's the case. But again, I could be wrong.
All right, folks, especially if you're listening on Reddit, because we all saw what the Reddit power can do in the stocks. We want you to push for Mary J. Blige to get in there so I can make that bet right now. The odds are good and in our favor, and then, boom, we all win.
It's minus 120 right now. Yes, and she'll get in. So.
Well, I thought it was better odds.
No, if you're looking to get maybe the push for someone to get better odds, then what's Devo at plus 250, Shaka Khan 2-1, LL Cool J plus 160. I mean, Dionne Warwick.
I'm going to go with LL.
Dionne Warwick is 3-1, which I think she should tell us when she gets in. Because remember in the 90s, she was in a Psychic Friends hotline in the early 90s.
Oh, yes. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's the one that should be telling me if she's getting in or not.
That is very true. That is very true. Just thought of that when you said that. That's funny. Okay, here we go. This is a friendly fan. He hangs out with all of our shows. Got any crypto odds? Do we have any crypto odds?
We do. We usually put them up. I mean, I think the buzz has hit its top line. I mean, of course, Bitcoin is going to be around. And I tell people I dealt with both the Bitcoins, and I do a lot of stuff in the market. So I'm not one of those old people that says, oh, I can't believe what they did in the market, blah, 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 blah. But be very careful because right now it's hot. So if you're not cashing out now or getting a hold of transferring your Bitcoin into dollar bills, because let's say in months from now you have $1 million a Bitcoin, and all of a sudden something else new happens or something else happens, you got zero. So I always tell people when you're dealing with stocks, dealing with offshore books and all that, if you put in $500, try to get that $500 as soon as possible and maybe a profit. So if you do lose it, if anything happens, because, I mean, shoot, we're in a pandemic now. Who would have thought that? At least you got your money back. You can't say, hey, you know what? I did the GameStop stock. I bought 500 shares, and it's up to $3,000 now. I say cash out, get at least $1,000. So if you do lose, if it tanks, at least you can say, hey, you know what? I got my money back. I doubled it. Instead of just sitting there and keep on playing, try to get your money out no matter what you do, either if it's an offshore sports book, if it's a stock market or something. Because you never know when your money's sitting in your computer screen and not in your wallet that it can zip out like that.
That is very true. And that goes to your wonderful saying that I hear every morning on Instagram. Please, folks, don't bet what you don't have.
Yeah, because your computer screen, my balance in my offshore book or Scotch Trade or whatever, Robinhood can say I have $1 million, but tomorrow I can wake up and we can be in pandemic part 2 or something bad happen and it's got $0. That
is so true, sir. So true. You are full of knowledge tonight, and I love it.
I'm just flowing with knowledge. Pitchers and catchers reported. My Cubs are going to stink. You got your quarterback living in your backyard, Carson Wentz. I mean, it's just a beautiful day.
So, what was the odds on that hit that, right, by the way? Who what were the odds on the Colts?
The Colts were the heavy favorite, pretty much.
Yeah, and were they right at even money?
Even, I mean, I saw some shops at plus 120. I think we had it at plus 120 because it was pretty close. It was what I heard. Well, before he signed or got traded to the Colts, it was Colts, Bears, and then we found out the Bears didn't even make an offer for Carson Wentz. So, but we had a lot of money coming in on the Bears on that one. So I think Carson Wentz is now your next door neighbor.
Yes, he is. I'm looking for him too because I'll get my Deshaun Jackson jersey signed by him. How about that? Since you're flowing, brother. We're going to flow right into college hoops. It was something that we wanted to get into last week. We were unavailable due to
crazy weather.
Yeah. It was either a foot of snow here or ice and whatever else was over your way.
60-mile-per-hour winds, and it was crazy weather.
Yes, it was.
But climate change does not exist. So
what's the odds on that? No. Moving on to college hoops. Like I said, we were getting ready to talk about it last week. The Big Ten is the big problem for everybody else in the NCAA men's basketball scene. So the question for you, sir, we're going to pop this off. We're going to tip it off by asking, is Michigan, and Damon's listening to this one, is Michigan the top dogs in the Big Ten?
As of right now, yes. And I still think they get a number one slot. If they lose one or maybe even two more games, I still think they give them a number one spot. I mean, because right now, let's face it, Gonzaga, Baylor are both number ones, and Michigan. And I know Ohio State lost, but Ohio State, I still have them maybe getting a one because Virginia lost. So we still got some powerful twos. I think Villanova can maybe – I don't see the committee giving two number one teams the Big Ten. Unless for some odd reason, let's say Michigan bows out early and Ohio State wins the Big Ten championship. Then maybe they'll put them in there. But I don't see two number ones coming out because I think these teams are going to be battling still at the last weekend of the Big Ten and then the Big Ten tournament. So I would not be shocked if Villanova wins a couple games or wins theirs. I think they can maybe grab it. But Alabama could be a very interesting number two to jump into a number one. But let's face it, Illinois can be up there. Iowa could be up there. But again, they're all going to be battling for significance if they're going to see. I don't see whatever projected three like a West Virginia, Oklahoma, Houston. That's a bad loss that they had last week. Jumping in and Virginia losing. If Virginia wins the ACC, then that loss to Duke is not that bad on Saturday, and then maybe they can leapfrog. But it's going to be very interesting if how many Big Ten gets ones and twos. Because I think ones and twos, you could see a lot of Big Ten conference. And let's face it, me and you both agree on this. I think it's been the best conference all season long. The Big Ten has been very competitive. I mean, we haven't even talked to the likes of how good Rutgers was this year. Nebraska was competitive this year. Northwestern started off hot, cooled off and all that. So there was really not that one team like, oh, it's for sure W, we're playing this team. I mean, Indiana's been battling on and off. So it's just been a fantastic conference.
Well, I mean, the one team that really struggles, in my opinion, to get something really going besides IU is Michigan State. When you look at that team this year, you don't really see a normal Tom Izzo team on the court. There's something missing there, and we all understand that Michigan State's not always that tough in the beginning of the season, but now that we're starting to, we're into conference play, we're starting to edge towards the conference tournaments and the the Big Dance tournament. Now is about the time that they really start playing, and they did show a little sign over the weekend against IU. However, is that going to be enough for Michigan State to pull themselves back out of the hole that they dug themselves in?
Yeah, because right now, last time I checked, I thought they were out, and Indiana was still on a bubble or last four out or something like that. So it's going to be interesting. And for Michael that says he likes Michigan as his favorite, keep an eye out for what region they get in. Because, okay, if they're a number one seed, they'll play a 16 seed like Texas State, right, James Madison, Siena, something like that. But those 8-9 seeds, that what I've seen out there. They could be like a BYU. They could be an Oregon. They can be a UCLA. Teams that normally will try to do half court or shoot the three ball really, really well. And I think that could maybe snake bite Michigan. I would not be shocked. I'm not saying they're going to lose it, but I wouldn't put them as to win it all as Michigan. I would think Iowa and Ohio State have probably better shots of winning it all than Michigan. And let's face it, Michigan was off for a long time. We still don't know how well their bench is. They don't go deep. They're not a big, deep team. So I'll be very careful. If I had to choose a Big Ten to win it all, I'm sorry. I know you guys are Michigan fans, probably watching, and that's when but it wouldn't be Michigan. I would like Iowa, especially Iowa that can defend and play both ways. They can play a half court and spread the ball off in Ohio State.
Now, I know you're not talking about me when you said
that. No, I know. I'm talking about your partner in crime. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your partner.
Brother, you're my partner in crime right here in the now.
I know, but I'm just saying someone's going to listen and someone's probably going to yell at me because I'm bag-mouthing his Wolverines. But I love Dron Howard, though. I think he's doing a fantastic job there. And
he's doing a hell of a lot better than Jim Harbaugh is out on the football field.
They got a really, really good coach, and his whole staff is fantastic. So they're going to get some really good recruits for what they're doing right now.
I can't disagree with that. You know, sometimes we sit here and we disagree on the stuff. Sometimes, very seldom, we sit there and have a cordial conversation that we agree upon things after things after things. And I like those types of nights. Raphael, this night is one of those types of nights that I really enjoy your presence.
Yeah, and Drake says Michael says keep an eye on Drake. Well, Drake will probably be a 10 or 11 seed. So that means, they've been playing really good ball against their conferences, but they'll have to play like a 6 seed or a 7 seed, which most likely could be a Big 12 team like a Virginia Tech, or an ACC team like a Virginia Tech or an Arkansas and all that. And I think Drake will have a hard time. Great story. Keep an eye out for Siena and Cleveland State and the Anteaters of UIC. I think those teams will have a very, very good tournament.
What about the team that we've seen in recent years, year after year, and that's the Shockers? Are they going to make some shocking moves in the tournament this year?
It all depends on where they're going to be seated. Seeding's going to be very different this year because it's all in one state, so it's not like you're going to have a abundance of.
It's in the state of basketball. It's the state of basketball.
So it's going to be interesting, but I think right now I saw them maybe a 12 or a 13 seed, so they would have to play a 4 seed. And right now the 4 seeds, what I looked at are tough, like Tennessee, Texas, Florida State could be a 4th seed. So I always look for a Wichita State team. They always play well in a tournament, but a 4th. I was hoping I need them to win a couple of games. So I'd like to get them a 12 seed because the 12 seeds always do really, really well in a tournament, beating a 5 seed.
That's very true, and it's usually good money on those.
Yes. Very good
money. I have one more question, and I'm going to go, if we're talking about college hoops, you know where I'm asking, is the North Carolina Tar Heels worthy and willing to do anything in the tournament?
No, I think I don't want to say shocked as if they get out of round one because right now they're a double-digit seed. I think 10 or 11, so they can battle a Big Ten team as their first game. Well, if they have to play a Purdue or trying to think of maybe an Arkansas team or something like that, that would be trouble for them because even though they're normally the Tar Heels like to run, they're not a running team this year, and they don't shoot the 3 ball as well as we've seen the Tar Heels in the past. So I would not be shocked if they're just like all their good players, one and done.
One and done. Hey, that's how I was. One and done, and she's 12 now. Raphael, let everybody know where they can reach you at, sir.
You can find me over at mybookie.ag. You can find me over at Doc Sports. I did write an article for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for Doc Sports. You can click on that and read it. It's a fun ride. I'm trying to do a little bit more of riding this now that football's over. You can check me out on Instagram on Raphael Esparza and on Twitter at VSI.sports.
Well, we might just have to recruit you to write some blogs on the BWSPORTS1.com page. Just saying. Hey,
like Jackie Manziel.
Yeah, show me the money. Jerry Maguire. We'll talk about that. We'll get it going. Folks, it's always fun Monday nights with him and me and Bet Your Ass with Raphael Esparza. We are here Monday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time here on Facebook and the YouTube channel. And catch us on all podcast platforms. Raphael, it's been fun as always, sir. Appreciate it. We hope that we don't have any more weather delays in our fantastic nights. And, sir, you have a good week.
You too. Have a great week.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Check us out, www.bwsports1.com. And we're out. Peace.